This session is being recorded. So, Mr. Bello, I'm going to answer your question, okay? The reason why I was saying that you should look at the locations table and change it to country, that's because for many of us, while I was doing the cleaning with Excel, I was able to change the country. And if you look at the recording, which was not showing then, but if you hear my voice in the video, I was able to change the location to country. So I just erased the location and I changed it to country. So instead of putting location, I just said, okay, let me identify this column by saying it's actually a country column. So if we should see Africa, we know that. Okay. 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 Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, yeah. Because when you're looking at population, right, you would want to calculate the total population, not just looking at the population in numbers. You want to calculate total population for the countries in Africa. You want to calculate total population for the countries in Europe. So for you to do that calculation, you need it to be in numbers. And now from what we can see from our table, when we view it using Excel, you find out that there are some columns there that have their values as decimal place in a decimal form. So why we are changing it to real is because in SQL, real recognizes real can house numbers that are whole numbers or decimal places, while integers can only house numbers that are whole numbers. So if you are putting 0.68 as to be recognized as an integer, it automatically rounds it up as 1.0. Okay, and we don't want that to happen. We want to see it for the number that it is. Okay, so we want to see it as a decimal place because it being a decimal place means it's being seen as a percentage of something or maybe a ratio of something. So that's why we are saying it, let it be as a real. So for a number that is maybe 24,000 as population, it will be recognized as 24,000.0. You know that 24,000.0 is a whole number, right? But it's putting 0.0 there because we're saying recognize this as real in case there are numbers that are in their decimal form. So we won't be having issues with calculations and all that. So I hope I've been able to answer your question. Okay, so I'll take one more question, and we'll go ahead for today. Anybody have a question? One more question. Okay, Badebo, you can go ahead. Okay, syntax error, depending on the type of error you're getting, okay? For me, I learned how to code better looking at the error message. I learned how to debug codes looking at the error message. So if I should get value error, I would look at the result I'm getting. Okay, value error means maybe you're putting the wrong value. If I see type error simply means you are maybe assigning the wrong type to, let's just say you want to do a calculation and you're saying name divided by 20,000, that's type error. Okay, that's automatically type error. So I know where to look at. So syntax error gives you an idea of what you're doing wrong. Okay, it gives you an idea of where you're getting it wrong. So I learned how to code better using the error message I'm getting. So it tells me, okay, type error. I know where to look at. If I'm getting syntax error, automatically my code is wrong. My code is wrong. I'm putting it in the wrong place. If I'm getting indentation error simply means maybe you're doing a for loop. for loop, if you're doing a for loop and you're getting indentation error, it means that any other code that is written after the for loop should be a tab after that for loop, not in the same line with the for loop. So that's what I know about error messages and everything. It's not there to scare you, it's there to guide you, telling you what you should do and how you should do it. So you could always use Google as your friend, or YouTube. I would always say that please use YouTube and Google as your friends. They're there to help you. So if you're getting an error message, just type the error on Google and Google will explain to you what that error message means. So all you just have to do is, since you already know the basic concepts, you just need to look at what Google is telling you and look at your code. It will tell you the next step to take. Hope I was able to answer that. All right. Right. So okay, so we'll go ahead for today. Let's just keep that as 2 questions, and we'll go ahead for the day. What we basically want to be looking at today is data data extraction using SQL. But at the end of this session, I'm going to be sharing more codes with you guys, more codes that you could use as data exploration. I was meant to record a video concerning that yesterday, but I stayed in a meeting longer than I expected. So that was really frustrating. But I'm going to try and share the codes with you guys, and I will explain the codes on a separate call when I get into the call with every one of you. If you have a question concerning the codes, I can explain that for you. But like I said, the call lasts for 5 minutes so that we can give opportunity to every other person that wants to get on a call with me. So the call is from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., just 4 hours. So which means, depending, I will be open to taking, let's say 48 calls. That's 5 minutes for 12 times in 1 hour. That's 12 times 4, 48. So I'll be taking 48 calls. Possibly it might extend to 60, depending on how long each person stays on the call with me. Okay, so I'm there to help everybody. And from next week, the calls will be open to those that are in the mentorship session with me. So this week, I'm doing a call for everybody, so that you can go ahead and ask your questions, whether you're in the mentorship or not. I can have that time throughout today for you. Okay, so, okay, Esther, go ahead with your question. I wasn't meant to take a question, but Esther, go ahead. Esther, you can ask your question now. Esther, you can ask your question. Yeah, Esther, go ahead. Ask your question, please. Okay. By system, how do you mean? Okay. All right. We'll be doing data extraction, which means that we'll be using SQL to pull out the data we need for our visuals. Okay. Yeah. Then after that, we'll be moving over to Power BI. So we'll be using Power BI to connect our data together. And yeah, I will show you how to load data to Power BI. I will show you how to transform your data and how to use Power Queries, also to create relationships using data. So I'll be showing that all in this session. Then tomorrow will be strictly for Power BI. No, we won't be doing SQL tomorrow, strictly for Power BI. So today will be Power BI and SQL joined together, so we can use time for both of them. Okay, then we'll open the floor for questions too. All right. So okay, Bemi, okay. Okay. All right, quick one. Yeah, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. But if you're finding issues using PostgreSQL, please give me a call. And I would advise you use the SQLite browser though. Yeah, I will. I will post the link now. And for the process on how to download and extract, you should go to the YouTube link I shared on the group and just follow the process, okay? All right, so yes, I'm sending the link right away. So, all right. All right. Sorry, I won't be taking questions now. So I know that Wemi and Art J have questions. So you are the first people I'm going to be responding to when I open the floor for questions again. But for now, no questions. We can just go ahead with what we have for today. Okay. So I'm going to be sharing my screen. Going to be sharing my screen so that we can all see what I'm doing. Okay. Give me a moment. Right. I hope you can all see my screen. Right. So from what we did yesterday, for those that are just joining in, welcome. So for what we did yesterday, we were able to understand our data and how our data is able to move from dates to dates, okay, which is how the death rate was able to, or how the total deaths changes from time to time, and how that relates with total cases for each countries. So which means that like United States, their total infections or the infection rates increases, but the death rate doesn't just shoots up with the total infection rate. It increases from time to time, maybe after 1 month, due to possibly the immune system of the person, the medical facilities involved or available in the country, and maybe underlying illness. The person might have cancer, so the person can't survive COVID-19, right? So now what we'll be doing and what we'll be looking at is how to get our data ready for cleaning, for extraction, that we can take it to Power BI and make our visions. So I'll stop sharing because I want to share my entire screen. I'll stop sharing, but okay. I'd like to share my entire screen. Okay, how to load the work you saved yesterday. So I hope my screen is visible. So to load the work you saved yesterday, this is what I want to do. To click on File, then you should see something like you should see your file that ends with DB. There's a file that ends with DB, and in case you have two that ends with SQB Pro, there might be two there, SQB Pro and DB. You should open the one with SQB Pro. That should have your queries intact also. So I don't know if you have one with SQB Pro. This should be it here, SQB Pro. Are you able to see that? Please, if you're able to see that Sunday, please just let me know so we can move ahead. All right. Okay, does the DB have your queries there? Okay, if the DB does not have, so open the Pro. The Pro should have your queries. Open the Pro. The Pro will ask you two questions. Yeah, go to File. It should ask you two questions. Do you want to abort previous operation? Click on Yes. Should open the one with the Pro. Did you click on SQB Pro? So check your queries. Your queries should be there. All right, so let's move ahead. So this is what I want you guys to do. This, you should see there's a file there for the queries we wrote for data exploration yesterday. You should see just close to it, you should see something like open tab. Part of the options there, you should see open tab, the first option. Okay, where my mouse is, that is where open tab is. Okay, where my mouse is, that is where open tab is. So you should click on open tab. You should open a new tab just beside the first query tab that we opened. All right, so I want you to right click on it and click on rename tab. Then you should name that data cleaning for, okay, data extraction. Why we are naming this is because you'll be pushing this to your GitHub, every one of you, and I will show you how to do that, okay? But we need to name it to make it uniform, very uniform. So data extraction for Power BI, Power BI visualization. Okay, you should be seeing, if you had opened SQD Pro, you should be seeing your queries from yesterday. So in that same execute SQL, you should be looking at a first option there. There's one, that's that same line you used to export the CSV. The first option in that same line should be open tab. Where my mouse is, just look at my screen and look at where my mouse is now. That option there is open tab. Yes, click on it. It should open a new tab for you. So when you open the new tab, the name of the tab should be SQL something. So you just right click on it. You'll see three options there: rename tab, duplicate tab, close tab. Click on rename tab. Then name that tab data extraction for Power BI visualization. Okay. I want you to go to file. Please, if anybody have that same question, please pay attention because I don't want to go back to this particular one to take our time, okay? So click on file. Then you should come down here. You're going to see two options depending on the number of databases you've worked on. I've worked on so many. So you see two options there. One should end with DB and the other should end with SQB Pro. One should end with DB and the other should end with SQB Pro. Can you see that, please? So open the one with SQB Pro. Open. Okay, if you have the one with DB, just open that. The only difference is that your query is not showing, and I will show you how to do that later on. Okay, so you can go ahead with the data extraction for Power BI visualization. It makes no difference, just that your previous query were not saved. I'll send the query again so you can save them. Click on yes, please. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So that is why you have DB and projects and SQD Pro. Yeah. So the first save is to save the database. The second save is to save it as a project. So later on, I'll explain why you are saving it as a project. Okay. And later on, I will explain why you're saving it as a database. Okay. So if you can't see it, see the SQD Pro, don't worry, just open the one with DB and just continue what we're doing. I will make amendments for that for you very soon. Okay. So let's go ahead. So when you've opened the new query box, or when you're seeing a new, for those with DB, opening DB, you should just see one. For those opening SQD Pro, click on new tab so you can open a new tab. Then right click on this. Right click on this. You will see three options there: rename, duplicate, and close tab. Then click on rename. So what you should name it as is data extraction for Power BI, or data extraction for Power BI visualization. Okay, this should be the name. Please look at my screen so you can see what I'm doing. You can data extraction for Power BI visualization. Look at it there. If where my mouse is, you're going to see something like open tab. Put your mouse where my mouse is. Click on it. Yeah, all right. So we're moving on. We're moving on. Right. All right. So we are going to start our queries now. We're going to start our queries now. Now, the first query we're going to be doing, please always number it to make it easier for you. Query number 1. Okay, now we're going to be looking at, we want to see, so I've worked on this project before, right? So I'm just looking at what I've done before. So I will just replicate the same thing. So we want to look at the sum of new cases as total cases, okay? And we also want to look at the total deaths, the sum of total deaths for every country. We also want to look at the death percentage, that's new deaths over new cases as death percentage. So we want to see that for each continent, want to see that for each country, and then save for each country, then save for each continent. All right. So we're going to group it by continents and then also group it by countries. So we can have one table for continents, then one table for countries, so that we can have different options. Okay. The idea is to have different options, So right now, our advice, if you're finding it very slow to keep up with the whole thing, I would say you should pause for a moment and watch what I'm doing, okay? So that you can follow easily. If your eyes are following through, and when you're going back to the YouTube video, it will be easy for you to catch up. Trust me, it will be very easy for you to catch up. Okay, so query number 1, all right? We want to say select. What are we trying to select? We want to select sum of total cases. We want to select sum of total cases. Okay, sum is like is an aggregate function in SQL. We have other aggregate functions such as We have other aggregate functions such as average, minimum, maximum. There are so many of them. But for this case, we're using sum. So please, if you are finding it difficult to understand what aggregate functions are, I shared a link on W3 Schools where you can go and learn the basic concepts of SQL. It would really help. Trust me, it would really help. It will give you an edge over every other person that is not visiting that website. So it would help you a lot. All right. So some total cases, as we want to name it general total case. General total cases. Okay, let's name it overall. That general doesn't look nice. Overall total cases. Then we also want to look at the sum of total debts, right? Sum of total debts as what? We want to look at that as overall total debts. Okay, so I won't entertain questions now. When I open the floor for questions, I will take all the questions. And I remember we have Mimi and Hat J as the first two people I'm taking the questions. So then the next thing we want to do now is debt percentage. Okay, we want to look at the debt percentage, or we call it debt rate, for each country or each continent. So okay, each country and each continent. So the next thing we want to do now is total debts. Okay, let's see. Total debts divided by the sum total debts, sorry. Sum, because we're looking at sum total debts, right? Divided by sum total cases. I will explain this after I'm done with this query. Then we want to open another bracket again. Okay, let's see. Okay, want to multiply this by 100. Then that's why we're multiplying by 100, so we can get it in its percentage form. So that's why we're going to be giving it an alias as debt rates. And I will explain why we are doing this, why we are actually making these calculations as debt rates. Then the next option is where are we getting this information from? From COVID debts. Okay, let me just be sure. Look at our table name, COVID debts. From COVID debts. Then we're going to be doing what we call a filter using the where clause. Okay, we're going to use a filter using the where clause. Where country like, let's look at our country Nigeria and see how they're doing. I hope COVID-19 has not killed most of them, sure. Then where continent is not null. So I'm going to comment this out. Let us look at countries first. Then we want to group by dates. So let it be in order of dates. All right. Group by dates. Then I'm going to explain this order by 1, 2. So let's run this and see what we are getting. Okay, so Now we can see overall total case death rate. So I want to bring country. So we can see the countries we're looking at. This was not giving us countries. Okay. So it's telling us, actually I couldn't have, if I wanted, I would not put the country there because it's already showing here that we are looking at it for Nigeria. We're focusing on Nigeria. So this extraction, you could name it death rate for Nigeria from 2020 to 2022. But why I'm putting this country here so that in case you're confused, you can know that we are doing it for Nigeria. All right. And I could go ahead to put dates. If I wanted, I could go ahead to put dates. So the dates will also be showing on this table. Right? Please hold on. So, okay, what we can see here now, we can see that it's look, we can now see country, dates, overall total case, overall total deaths, overall total case, overall total deaths, then death rates. So it's showing us, it's ordering it by dates. We can't say order by country because automatically we are viewing it for only Nigeria. So we don't need it to order by country. All right. And I could say order by 1, 2. What it means is that order by 1, 2 is going to look at the dates and pick the first date and the second date by the day we are looking at. So the 1st of January, the 1st of February, the 1st of January, 1st of February, it then goes automatically to the 2nd of January, the 2nd of February. It now checks, okay, does Nigeria have a record for the 1st of March? If it has a record for the 1st of March, instead of 2nd of January being here, this will be 1st of March being here. So it's ordering it by the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, and so on and so forth. That's why I'm using this order by 1, 2. But until you go to W3 schools and look at the concepts there, order by, I'm going to remove this so that it won't get you confused. So I'll say order by dates alone. Order by dates alone. I know you guys have questions, but I'm going to go through this again. Okay, so when I say overall total cases just means I'm adding everything. I'm adding everything for it's just like a sum. I'm saying the sum of total case. Okay, let me say sum of new cases. Let me change this to sum of new cases so I would explain it in a different light entirely. Okay, so let's run. Okay, then here will be new debts. So I will explain this in a different light so you would understand. Okay, so for Nigeria now, we can say that as at 1st of January 2021, they had total new cases of 980 people. That time, 5 people died, total of 5 people died. And the death rates for that particular day, that particular period, is 1.46. The death rate is 1.46. So that means death rates by total cases. So we're saying if 5 people are dying and 980 people are contracting the virus, what is the death rate? What is the percentage? How would you know if you are going to die? What is the percentage of you dying if you contract COVID-19. So the chance of you dying is 1.46%. That is the chance of you dying. Okay, so that's the chance of you dying if you contract COVID-19. Now, if we look at as at 2022, the chance of you dying is 1.24 if you contract COVID-19. So it has reduced, right? That means Nigeria are doing well. Then as at 2nd of January, the chance of you dying is 1.21. Okay, so I would remove this group by dates. This group by date is not doing well. I'll remove this group by dates. So we can now look at, sorry, I'll remove this date too. I'm looking for an information I want to pass to you guys, all the queries. We're going to take them one after the other. I don't want to put all the queries all at once, so you can understand each query as I'm going ahead with them. So for Nigeria, 266 people, over 266,000 people are getting COVID-19 as at 2020. So if I should put the dates here, as at 2020, over 266 people are contracting COVID-19. And the total deaths were like 3,160. Then the death rate for 2020 is 1.28. 1.28%. So if we want to see for the whole of 2020, we say where a country like Nigeria, that means where the country is Nigeria, and dates like, okay, and date between, I will explain this, and date between, let's say 01/01/2020, and date between 01/01/2020 and let's say 31/12/2020. So we want to look at the start of the year 2020 to the end of the year 2020. What was the death rate for Nigeria? Let's see how that works. We can see that it's 261,000, over 261,000, and the total death is 3,081. So the death rate is 1.28. So that means if you are in Nigeria and you are getting COVID-19 as at 2020, the chance of you dying is 1.28%. So that means the that time COVID-19 has not fully come into Africa or possibly Nigeria. That's why the death rate is so low. But if we look at death rate for states, I think that should go up a little. Death rate for states. Death rate for United States then is 1.37%. So that means if you're getting COVID-19 as at 2020 and you're in the US, the chance of you dying is 1.37%. So which is relatively high. Don't look at it because it's 1.37% is so low. If you look at the ratio, it's relatively high because looking at the infection rate and looking at the total deaths, then if you calculate it by population, that is when you realize that it's actually high. A greater percent of the population are dying for COVID-19 in the United States compared to maybe Afghanistan or whatever. So I won't be using where country is United States. I'll be looking at continents. So I want us to view it by continent, so that we'll have the total view for all the continents. So this is the table that we'll be extracting. I just wanted to use Nigeria to explain. This is the table we'll be extracting for continents. So let's see. Okay. Sorry, I meant to put continents here. So for those wanting the code, this query, I'm going to paste this on the group chat now. And continent, I want to remove this. I'll say group by group by dates. Do this and hit play. Okay, wonderful. So, okay, I don't want it to show dates. Let's see. This should give me what I'm looking for. Let's see, order by dates. Order by dates, then we'll put our semicolon. Okay, because the query I wrote is really advanced, so I'm trying to break it down to a beginner level so that you guys can see it. Let me see. Where continent is Africa? Okay, I'm trying to actually group, bring out only for Africa. Yeah, trying to bring out only for Africa. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Okay, order by 1, 2. Where continent is Africa? Okay, where continent like Africa? So we're going to say percentage here. Then we're going to put another percentage here. So this should work. Okay, so now this is what I've been looking for. So I want to show you something. We can now look at the overall total cases in Africa is showing looking at 12 million, which means that from 2020 to 2022, 12 million people, over 12 million people contracted COVID-19 in Africa. Then just 257 persons died in Africa compared to US alone. US alone, from 2020 to 2022, we have over 1 million. I think it has increased to 1.2 million people have died from COVID-19 in US. So the death rate in Africa is just 2.29%, which means if you are contracting COVID in Africa, the percentage of you dying is 2.29%. It's 2.29%. Looking at the total population in Africa. So if we decide to do death rate by population, you will see that the figure might increase to maybe 16%, which means that if the population in Africa is contracting COVID-19, what percentage of that population will die? That is what it means by death rate by percentage by population. But I'm going to go back and open for all the continents. This is what we need for our visuals actually. Let's see. Okay, so for Africa, we can see that the figure remains the same. For Asia, we can see that just 1 million people are dying from COVID-19. Okay. 1 million people are dying from COVID-19. Over 1 million, close to 1.5. Okay, that's why we have 1.5 million people dying. Because Asia, very funny enough, the death rate started reducing in Asia. If you pay attention to the news, I think sometime in 2021, they said the infection rate in Asia started going down compared to US, which means that Asia started using COVID-19 vaccination even before US. Okay, so that is why their death rate or the death count in Asia reduced to a minimum. Okay, so for Asia, the total cases was let's see, 195 million people were infected by COVID-19 in Asia. So if you want, you can, I think I'm trying to look for a way we can put this on Google. If someone can type on Google the infection rates in Asia for COVID-19, maybe you can put from 2020 to 2022, you will see that the figure is close to this figure we have here. So if someone can try that out, you can see that the figure is close to this figure we have here. It might be actually lower than this, a little bit lower than this, or slightly higher than this. So for Europe, you can see that the figure went high to 24. Okay. Okay, if you look at this, you are using new cases, not total cases per se. Yeah, so new cases, we have to do some because in 24th of February, you might have 5 new cases. Then maybe 1 month later, you might have 3 new cases. 5 plus 8 will give you, 5 plus 3 will give you 8. So that is the overall total case. Even if you look at the column for total case, it will still be showing 8. But if we should say sum of total cases, it will be adding 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, which will give you a wrong figure. Right? It will give you a wrong figure because on Monday, okay, I will explain that again for you. Let's say on Monday, we had total of 5 cases. Why we are having total of 5 cases is because the new cases we had were just 5. So that means automatically the total cases will be 5. But if we don't have a new case on Tuesday, the total case will still be 5 because we did not have a new case on Tuesday. So on Tuesday, the total case will still be 5, right? Are you following? Is that correct? That's correct, Noshe. So on Wednesday, if you don't have a new case, it will still be total case of 5. But on Thursday, if you should have 3 new cases, automatically 5 plus 3 means the total case will be 8. Now, if you are saying we should use sum of total case, it will start adding 5, 5, 5, 8, which is very incorrect. Okay, but if you are saying sum of new case, it will add 5, 0, 0, 3, which is 8. Do you understand? So if I'm doing total deaths, if I'm doing the percentage using total deaths column, I don't need to use sum anymore. Okay, I don't need to use sum anymore. I just need to use total deaths over total cases multiplied by 100 as death rates. That's all I need to do. I don't need to start using overall total case, overall total deaths. That's unnecessary. But I'm trying to show you a different way of going around it. Okay, so I'm going to put this on the chart. There you have it. All right, so the next thing we want, okay, so now, So now what we can see here is the remaining statistics for different countries. So North America is looking like they are fighting with Europe, or they're fighting with Asia. So you can see that the total cases in Asia is higher than the total case in North America. All right. And North America comprises more of United States, because US were like, I don't know if they were doing competition with people that will get COVID-19 more in North America. So Asia was higher than US in infection, total infection counts. But when it comes to death count, US was higher, North America was higher than that of Asia. Even Europe is even higher than that of Asia, because it's understandable for Europe to be very high, because it's comprised of many countries that people are traveling to. So we look at UK, Germany, France, Scotland, Spain. These countries are where they are playing Champions League. So if you are going to watch Champions League, the chance of you getting COVID-19 is very high. Is very, very high. So, okay, please give me a moment. Is very high. All right. So if we also look at South America, South America has an infection count of, I think, 6 million or 65 million. Yeah, 65 million. And their death count was 131, okay, 1.3 million. Okay, so if we look at that, the death rate was 2.5%, which is very high, which means that if you look at it very well, South America they are good with maybe football, but their access to medical facilities might be very low. If you look at countries like Argentina, forget Messi is from Argentina, but their access to medical facilities is very low. If you look at a country like Colombia or Brazil, we know Brazil is not really a country that can boast when it comes to having money, but with football, they can boast on that. So their access to medical facilities may be low, even compared to Nigeria. Okay, so that's where we might be beating those countries. So this query, this project can actually give you an insight on a country's or a continent's access to medical facilities. Okay, so let's continue. So the next thing we want to look at is let me see what we can do. We want to, okay. Okay, you can, it's not necessary, you can leave that out. I would only explain it when you understand the concept of order by, okay, because it's going to really be long if I don't order it by 1, 2. So why I would just order it by 1, 2 is in case the data looks scattered. So I want it to be ordered accordingly, not it looking scattered. But from what you can see here, it's not looking scattered, so I don't need to order it by 1, 2. But if we're ordering by, if we're putting dates as the columns we want to see, we need to order it by 1, 2, so that the date will look organized in a way by maybe first, second, third, fourth, something like that. So that's why I was ordering by 1, 2. Okay, so let's look at, we want to see the maximum total case for each country, okay, and their population. We also want to view the population. So by maximum total cases, we want to look at the max total cases. We'll name that as highest infection count for a country. Then we'll look at max population infection rates. So we want to look at total case divided by the max total case divided by population multiplied by 100. Then we want to now name that as population infection rate. So remember the first one we did was death rate. Death rate is total deaths divided by total case. But this one now we want to look at what is the highest percentage of the population for a country that is infected. So what is the percentage of infection rate for a particular country by their population? So if a country is having a population of 130 million, what percentage of that country is actually infected? Yes. Which code are you talking about? The second one I'm talking about. Okay, the first one has been posted to the group. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to put this one, but I just want you guys to understand the concepts of this particular stuff. So it depends on what we actually want to look at. So before I go ahead with this one, can someone just tell me what we should look at, what kind of information we should look at, so we can build a query for that particular information. So before I put this particular one, so I'll just take someone. Okay, no, the question is just simple. What information do you want us to look at? Do you want us to look at the total infection rate for Nigeria? Do you want us to look at the total infection rate, yeah, by population, or total infection rate for a country, or maybe infection rate, right? So let's say total infection rate. So infection rate by population, we want to say max select country. Let's put the select country. Okay, please give me a moment. I'll be with you guys. Yes, this is recorded. This is recorded. So we want to select the country, right? So we also want to select the population. Okay. So the next thing we want to see is max total cases. So we're looking at the maximum total case Nigeria had from 2020 to 2022. Okay. Then the next thing we want to do is name this as highest infection count. Highest infection count. So the max total case, the column will be named as highest infection count. Then the next thing we want to do is max total case. Max total cases divided by max population. Okay. Then we want to multiply this by 100. If you are confused, I'm going to explain. I know this is looking like, wow. Then we want to name this rates of infected population. Okay. Then we are getting this information from the COVID deaths table. Then where location, where country, sorry, where country like let's say Nigeria. Yeah. So let's look at Nigeria. Then you could put any country you want, but placing focus on Nigeria. Then we want to look at order by, we want to look at order by okay. Then it will be, let's say, let's group it by population. Okay, we don't need to use group by, but we'll be changing it to continents very soon. So, because I want this information to be for the continents. Okay, so we're going to comment this out. Thank you, thank you. So then order by, we want to order by rates of percentage population. So do this. Then we want it to be in descending order. But we're going to comment this out because we're viewing for only Nigeria, so it won't actually put anything in descending order. So we run this. Let's see what it gives us. Okay. All right. So from what we can see here, we can say that okay, you could actually name it anything. You could name it highest infection rates, but why I'm putting it rates of why I'm putting it rates of infected population is or rate of population infected is because I want you to be aware that we are doing the calculation by population and not by total case over total deaths. I don't want you to get you confused in any way. Okay, so you could name it highest infection rates by population. It makes sense that way. You could name it rate of population infected. You could name it go ahead. The highest of max total case. Okay, we are trying to get the percentage of the population that is infected. We want to get it in a percentage form. Do you understand? This max total case is just giving you the number, right? It's telling you this is the number of people that were actually infected in Nigeria. Okay, but now this, yeah, not by population, just the number of cases we had in Nigeria, the number of COVID-19 cases we had in Nigeria. But now this other formula is telling us, okay, what percentage, with this number we have, what percentage of this population what percentage of these cases were actually affected by the population? So what percentage of the population were infected by COVID-19 if we had this number as the total case we had? Okay, I don't know if you get that. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Okay, why not put infection count over population? Oh, okay. No, it won't work that way because this is just what we are selecting. Okay, this is what we are selecting. So if I should say, yeah, if I should say highest infection count over population, is that what you're saying? Okay. No, it won't give us the same thing. So I just tried it now. You can see that it's telling us error because this highest infection count is an alias in this first line of code. It has no, you understand? It has no effect yet. It will only take effect after this filter has taken place. So if you notice, order by rate of population, I kept the alias here. I could have put order by max or total cases over population. You get, but this alias takes effect after this filter. So you can now start grouping it by the new column name or all that. But if you want to do a calculation with this highest infection count, it will always give you an error because highest infection count is not even a column yet. You are just aliasing it as something. So it's not even a column yet. So this is how it should be. Max total case over population. Then this formula you're seeing here, you can now give it an alias here. So the alias takes place after this filter has been done. Yes, the new column you're calculating, whether is total case minus new case minus total death minus, because you don't want to, yeah, you don't want to make it look so long. So you want to give it a new name. So I could name it, let's see, I could name it, no, I just want to play around. So I could name it Daniel, showing Daniel there. So it could be anything you want to name it as, but let it be something that when someone that is not really a tech person looks at it, the person will know what the calculation is all about. All right. So the total population for Nigeria is 218 million. Then the total infection count is 266K. Then the infection, okay, total infection. Why we are putting highest infection count is because we're using max total case. So it could be anything you want it to be. Just let it be something that when you look at it, you know, you remember what you've done. Yeah. So that's the idea. You remember what you've done. So if we say total infection count, it changes the total infection count. Still the same thing. The figures remain the same, but that is what you'll be getting. So I'll stop here, and I want you guys to do something now. Go to File, click on Save All. Go to File, click on Save All. Then for those that don't have their file named as SQB Pro, so for those that don't have the stuff as SQB Pro, I want you to go to Save Projects, okay, and click on Save Projects. Then any option you see there, just click on Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. But for those that have everything in place, just click on Save All. So after saving your project, go to Save All. So these particular queries are going to remain saved in your what they call it, in your DB Lite browser. When you save the project, it will save the query. But when you save the database, it won't save the query. So it's advisable you save it as a project first. Then you can just start clicking Save All anytime you want to save instead of saving it as a new project. Do you understand? Yeah. All right. So I just posted the second query on the chat. Then, all right. So the next thing we want to look at now is we want to change this query to continents. Okay, we want to view this by continent. So we say continent, country, then where country is. Okay, I'm going to name this as the third query so that you guys won't be confused. I'm going to name this as the third query, number 3. Then we say continent, then country, where country like. So we're going to comment this out. We want you to bring out all the countries. Then We also want to say let's see. Okay, so we want it to order by and group by because we're now dealing with multiple countries. So we want it to order by location, group by location and population, which means that all the information will be grouped by location. Then okay, we can comment this one out. We want to order it by rate of infected population. Rate of population infected. I'll change this. This is not correct. Rate of population infected. So if I should run this, let's see what this gives us. I want to look at that according to continents. Why is this one giving me like this? Well, okay, let's remove continents. Let's see. Okay. Group by country. So let's see. Okay, so this is what we're looking for. So this is all the information for our country. So we're looking at rates of population infected. Now, if you look at Cyprus, okay, sorry. If you look at Cyprus, let me explain the query. So we want to view all the countries, right? We are selecting the column of country. We're selecting the column of population. Then I already explained this particular code. You already explained this particular code. So from where the COVID deaths table, right? Now I commented out this where country like Nigeria because we want to view for all the countries in our database. So I want it to be grouped by country and population, which means that give us all the information for each country into one column or into one cell or one row. Then also group it by the population. So you see one information for Cyprus, one population information for Cyprus, one total infection count information for Cyprus, and one rate of population infected information for Cyprus. So I don't want you to be raising it by dates. January 1, this is this one. January 2, this is this one. Just pack everything for us and tell us the total count. Tell us the total count. All right. So I want you to order it by rate of population infected. Now, this order by means from the highest rate of population infected to the lowest. That's why we kept descending order. So Cyprus might not have the highest population, but Cyprus have the highest rate of population infected. 69% of their population were infected with COVID-19. All right, followed by San Marino. 66% of their population were infected by COVID-19. Followed by Faroes Island down to, we have France here as number 10. Let's look at number 20. We have Switzerland as number 20. Then we have Czech Republic as okay, we have Montenegro as number 30. Then we have Belgium as number 40. So if you're trying to make a visual of this stuff, it's going to give you issues because the countries are too much. So you cannot group them by which countries in Africa, which countries in Asia. You just have the countries all lined up for you there. So what I want to do is I want us to look at this information. So group by continent. So we want to see the countries, all the countries lined up, but we want them to have that column continents so that we can use our Power BI to separate these stuffs by continent. So when we select Africa, only the countries in Africa will be showing. When we select Asia, only the countries in Asia will be showing. So continents. So we want to select all this. Let's see if this will be correct. This is correct. This is correct. Okay, so now we can see the continent here is Europe. The country here is Cyprus. So we know Austria is in Europe, Andorra is in Europe, Brunei is in Europe. So we want to say where continent is not known, because if we leave it this way, we know that Africa was in a country column when we looked at our Excel. So we don't want that error. And we know that when Africa was in a country column, there was no continent. So it's going to show us continents that are not grouped by anything. So that's going to be kind of an error. So we want it to be where continents. All right. Okay. Exactly. That's why I'm trying to, okay, that's what I was trying to explain. Now, if we should leave it like this, we remove this where continent is not known. You are saying that show us the information too when continent is null. You understand? So that's why you'll be seeing continent as null value. It doesn't make sense. Okay. So we want to say, and if you look at South Africa, that country column where it's showing South Africa is not the country South Africa that you're seeing there, is the region South Africa. So in that South Africa, you'll be seeing the country South Africa, you'll be seeing Rwanda, you'll be seeing Botswana, other countries in the region of South Africa. If you should see West Africa, you'll be seeing Ghana, Togo, Nigeria, all in West Africa. So that's an error there. So you don't want that error to be showing in your code. So we'll say where continent is not null, then we'll run the code. So this will remove that error where you are seeing null value as a continent. So if you check that cell 104, if you check that cell 104, you won't see that error anymore using this code when you put where continent is not null. So I'm going to take this and I'll put this on the chart. Okay. I'll put this on the chart for everyone. All right. So I hope I'll be making sense so far. I'll take 2 questions, then we'll move ahead. I'll take 2 questions, then we'll move ahead. Okay, wonderful question. Sorry, who asked this question? I can't really see the names. Okay, that's a nice one. So what we're looking for, we're looking at the infection rates for each country by their population. We want to see throughout this COVID-19 wahala, which how many percentage of Nigeria's population were infected? How many percentage of Germany's population were infected? We can see that 43% of Germany's population were infected, which means that from 83 million people in Germany, 43% of them were infected. So if you want to get that in numbers, you just say 43 over 100 times 83 million people. You will get the numbers in population for Germany that was infected. All right, so if someone asks you how many people in Germany were actually infected by COVID-19, you just need to say 43.9 over 100 times 83 million people. It gives you the figure. So when we are doing our Power BI, we can actually do this calculation in Power BI using DAX formulas. Okay, and that's where Power BI is very interesting when you start doing calculation using DAX formulas. Okay, so I'm going to round this. I'm going to round this. Okay, please, the next person, let me see the next person on the recorder. How's the hand up? Uh, let's see. Okay, Bolaji, go ahead. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, this particular information, right? Okay, that means that their information were not recorded at all. That's what it means. It means their information were not recorded. So they gave us they were not recorded at all. That's what it means. Because so when we look at in cases like this, when we extract this information, we are going to do data cleaning again using Excel. Okay, so we want to say anywhere we have a blank figure, let us represent that as 0. Do you understand? So we are going to use that information, but Power BI might not recognize it, but we want to just represent it as 0. Do you understand? Yeah. So, okay. Yes, it's closed this point here. You see that I closed it. Yeah. So I'm writing these queries, but we're going to go back to every one of them and extract them, export them to a CSV file. But let's write all the queries first. The extracting is not really difficult. It's just the one-way stuff. So, we're going to go over to the next query. Okay. All right. So the next thing we want to look at is let's see. All right. I'm trying to look at something that will just take us straight to. Okay, now we are going into joins. We want to join the COVID vaccine and the COVID death table. So I'm going to signify this here. Um, please stay with me using a primary key. Okay, so so what we are going to do now is I'm going to explain what a primary key is quickly, and I'm going to explain what SQL joins are. So let's say we have two tables called customer and we have two tables called customer and employees. All right. And every employee has an employee ID. But whenever an employee sells something to a customer, the customer has to write it on a form that, okay, this is the employee that sold this thing to me. Now, the company will tell the customer, write the employee ID so that we can know the employee that sold this thing to you. So in the customer table, we are going to be saying the customer name, the customer address, what the customer bought, and the employee ID, that's the employee that sold it to the customer, right? Are we following? All right. So if we want to merge the customer table and the employee table, we can only merge it using the employee ID because employee ID is in customer table And also employee ID is an employee table. So that employee ID is called the primary key. Okay, are we following? Now, every other thing are called foreign keys because maybe they are present in another table, but not the employee table. Maybe they can be present in product table because the the customer bought the products. The product name might be present in the products table. That's the product table of the company where the customer bought it from. So it's called a foreign key, which means that it's a primary key for another table, which we are not concerned about at the moment. Do we understand? Okay, so the employee ID that is present in both the customer table and the employee table is what we call a primary key. All right, so that is why I wrote primary key here. Now, we have different types of joins. We have the inner join. Inner join is like look for the common information in both the employee table and the customer table. That is only what we want to see. Okay, that is inner join. So the common information in the employee table and the customer table is the employee ID. Okay, so that is an inner join. It's like intersect. Now, if we're looking at, there's another join called the left join. Left join is give us all the information that is in the customer table, then look for corresponding information that is in the employees table and join it to the customer table. So if we want to look at all the information that is in the customer table and want to join the corresponding information or similar information that is in the employee table, we'll say left join on employees table using the employees ID. So what it will do is that it will carry all the employees ID that is in the customer table and merge it to the customer's table, bringing all the information that we need from the employees ID. I'm sure that's sounding like strange language for you guys, but let's show it using this SQL query, using the COVID vaccine and the COVID death table. All right. So what we want to see, the first thing we want to see is the continent. So we want to look at the continent, the location, the dates, and the population. Also, we want to look at the total vaccination a company as a country has received. We're going to name that as we're going to give that a separate name. Then we also want to look at the percentage of the population that has been vaccinated. You understand? So this time around, it's not the percentage of the population that is infected, it's the percentage of the population that is vaccinated. All right. So what we are going to do now is now okay, give me a moment, guys. All right, can we hear me? All right, so let's continue. Sorry, something came up. So what the first thing we want to do is we want to name, now for us to do joins, rather than us writing COVID deaths dot continent, it makes no sense because that is going to be a very long process. So we want to say select, we want to say select D dot, I'm going to explain this, D dot continent, D dot country, D dot dates, D dot population. Okay, population. Got you. Then max V dot total vaccination. Total vaccinations. Okay, we want to name this as total people that were vaccinated. It's total people vaccinated. Then, okay. Then the next thing we also want to do is get a percentage of these people that were vaccinated. How many percentage of the population were vaccinated? So it would be max this one. There's it has S. It has S. It gave me the option, so I just use tab. All right. So max vaccination divided by population. Okay, let's see. Divided by population. Close the brackets, multiply by 100. Then we want to name this as rate of population vaccinated. So I will have to do this. Then now the next thing is, where are we getting this information from? Remember, we are joining two tables, right? So we are getting the first information. And now when you're doing joins, you have to have two tables, the left table and the right table. The left table is the original table, the one that will be picking information from the right table. So our left table is COVID deaths. COVID deaths. Now, this is where it becomes tricky. We want to, this D that we are seeing here, we want to put D just beside COVID deaths. This means that rather than putting COVID deaths.continent, COVID deaths.country, it has to be D.country. So anywhere is seeing D, the SQL query is knowing that we are trying to call information from COVID deaths rather than using all the names COVID deaths. Okay. Right. Okay, rather than using all the information called COVID deaths. Okay. So let's go on. So we want to, so after writing from COVID deaths D, the next thing we want to say is left join now what we want to join is COVID vaccination, right? Left join COVID vaccination V. So what this means is that this V.COVID vaccination, V.total vaccination is the same thing as COVID vaccination dot total vaccination. They are just the same thing, just that we are making the name shorter, like an alias. So left join on. So we want to left join it on D.country and V.country. So remember what I said about the primary key? We are joining the key from the death table and the key from the vaccination table. And we're using two primary keys here. I will explain why. Then D.date and V.date. So we want the dates to be corresponding with each other. Then where D.continent, because why I'm saying D.continent is because where the column we are selecting is D.continent, not V.continent. So where D.continent Sorry. Where d.continent is not null. This query is very important because we want to view only the continents that have information in them. Then we'll say group by d.continent, d.location. Okay, sorry, d.country, because mine is country. If yours is location, you can use location. Then d.date, then d.population. So we're going to run this query. Let's see what we have here. Okay, population. Let's see. I'm bring yours column name. Ambiguous column name. Ambiguous. Okay, let me take this out. Oh, it's actually specified d dot. Let's see. Okay. Okay, V. All right, I now get what you said. So, sorry, let me let someone into this call. Okay, so that's d dot population. So thanks for that information. I think I knew where the problem was coming from. So we run this. Let's see. Okay. So mine is taking time to load because my machine is not a senior bro. So for those of us that are going into data science, I think it's advisable if you just have two laptops because sometimes the one you're using to write your code might not be the one you're using to deploy your code.
Good morning, sir. Thank you. How are you?
All right. Okay, my code is still loading. Thanks a lot of information. So why? Okay, you can't see it. You can't see it now because my laptop is loading. So it's going to take a while. So while it's loading, please you can ask me a question so I could just explain this code where you don't understand. So I'm taking questions now while it loads. While it loads. Okay. Yeah, yours could be CVD, COVID deaths, CVV, COVID vaccine. So it doesn't have to be D, but any name you're putting has to be consistent with whatever you're seeing in my own. So anywhere you're seeing D and your naming is something else, that name has to be consistent. I hope you're getting. Okay, so mine is loading now. So what it means is that if you are using D here and you decide to change your D to CD, let's say you want to name it CD, wherever you are seeing this D, you have to change it to CD. Then if you are using CV, wherever you're seeing V, you have to change it to CV. It has to remain consistent so that the query, the SQL query, will recognize that alias that you're giving the table. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So, all right. So now this is the information we are looking at here. What we are trying to do is we're trying to look at the total vaccination for each country. Total people that have been vaccinated for each country, right? So what this means is that as at the 1st of January 2021, nobody was vaccinated in Algeria. It means that the vaccination injection or medicine, wherever it is, has not reached Algeria by that time. So that's why we are seeing null here. Okay. But if we go down, we can see that as at the 1st of March 2022, 152, how many people is this? 15 million people were vaccinated in Algeria. That's 33% of the population. Okay, that's 33% of the population. Now I can decide to keep going down. Okay, now we can see at the 2nd of November 2021. Now, if you notice, the 2 dates are different. They are kind of scattered. But while we're using Power BI, we'll be able to organize it very well. So as at the 2nd of February, which is before the 1st of March 2022, as at the 2nd of February 2021, as the 2nd of November 2021, 11 million people were received vaccination. That's 25% of the population. Okay, for Algeria, 25% of the population for Algeria. So it's increased to, hold on, vaccination. Yeah, the date is when they received vaccination. So as at the 2nd of November 2021, 11 million people received vaccination. But as at the 1st of April 2022, which is this year, the amount increased to 15 million people, which means an extra 4 million people. Sorry? Okay, sorry, that's May. So as at May 2022, the number increased by 4 million, which is 15 million people received vaccination. So the rate of the people vaccinated went up from 25 to 33. I hope you're able to understand that. Okay, so in this particular query is just showing us the total people that were vaccinated for each country. So when we extract this table, it will be easy for when we push it to maybe Excel or Power BI, we can then start seeing for each country or for each continent. So we can view the total people that received vaccination in Africa. We can look at count distance. We can look at the total count, or we can look at the sum of people that received vaccination in Africa or in Algeria or in Nigeria or in South America or Asia. So that is what this table is for. So it's one of the tables that we'll be using for our visualization. So that is why we are writing this particular query. But I know that, all right, so I've explained this particular first one. This first one is just, we are telling the SQL query where we want to get our information from and the columns that we want to see. All right, so that means we want to see the continents from the COVID deaths table. Let it bring continents from COVID deaths table. Then we want to see the countries from the COVID deaths table. That's why we're using d.country. We are specifying where it's bringing that column from. If we should say just country, we're going to get that error code that the column country is ambiguous. That means it's not sure whether it's getting the information from COVID deaths or getting the information for COVID vaccination. All right, so that's why we're specifying D. Then d.population means that we are getting the population information from COVID deaths, and d.date means we are getting the date information from COVID deaths. And why we are using D is because D is the left table. Okay. If we should use V, we are saying that V is the left table. So if we're using V here, we're going to say from COVID vaccination, left join COVID deaths. But why we are using D is because D is the left table. So that's why we are saying from COVID deaths as the left table, left join COVID vaccination, which is the right table. Okay. Then we are saying maximum total vaccination. Why we can't say D here is because COVID deaths does not have the information of total vaccination. It is COVID vaccination that has that information. So we are taking that information from COVID vaccination table and not COVID deaths. Then we are renaming this table as total people vaccinated, which we all know how to do. Then we want to say the max total vaccination divided by V dot population. Why we are saying V dot population is because we don't want it to be getting the population information this time around from COVID deaths. We want it to be getting the population information from COVID vaccination table because we are dividing total vaccination by total population. So they have to be from the same table. So they have to be from the same table. I hope that makes sense in any way. So they have to be from the same table. So then the next thing we want to now do is, we all know from COVID deaths, we're getting it from COVID deaths, which is the left table, right? So the left table have to be in the front. Then the right table has to be in left join. So we are left joining COVID vaccination, which is the right table. Then the primary key, we are using two primary keys, okay? Two primary keys, which is the country column from the death table and country column from the vaccination table. That is our first primary key. Then we're using on that primary key, which is the date column from the COVID death table and the date column from the COVID vaccination table. We want them to be equal, the same thing with each other, right? Then our filter is now where continent is not null, which means that we don't want this continent column to be showing null. We want everything to be correct. Then we are grouping it by continent, country, date, and population. So which is continent, country, dates, and population. So we can go as well to remove group by, but it might not look ordered. But even if it's not looking ordered, you can order it on Power BI. Power BI makes it very easy for you to do that. So we're using group by so that it will look very ordered. So we can take that headache away from our side when we go into Power BI. So I hope we're able to understand that explanation. If not, you just have to go back to the recording and listen to the explanation again because everything now is being recorded. This session is being recorded. So I hope I can move ahead with what we. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to copy this to the chart. Okay. Okay. Yes, you need to have eye for information, like your eye catching for information has to be. That's why if you are going for an interview, they will try to test how detail oriented you are as a data analyst. We'll be looking out for that, how detail oriented you are as a data analyst. So that is one of like the key skills of a data analyst, detail oriented. You need to have eye for information. But that's something that you can develop over time. Something that you can develop over time. And is one of the things I'll be teaching those in the mentorship group, because in that mentorship group, you'll be writing a white paper, which is a very good skill for a data analyst. You know how to summarize your information in one page Microsoft Word paper. So everything you've done, your problem statements, the information you gathered, and your conclusion and your recommendation has to be in one paper. It could be in two, but I'm going to be teaching you how to make it in one paper so you don't get people sleeping when they are reading your reports. Okay. Check if your country is named location. Okay, so Okay, so the next thing we want to look at now is I want us to go straight to the nitty-gritties. Okay, so now we'll be looking at the death rates for every country. Let me see. The death rates for every country. So what we want to do, I think we've done death rate, right? Don't know if we've done death rate for every country. Let's see. Total cases COVID deaths. Okay. All right. So the next thing we want to do, this should be the last query for the day. This should be the last query for the day because we already have enough information here. So the next thing we want to do is total death count. Okay, total death count. So we want to look at okay. We want to look at the total death counts for each country in our data set. Right, total death count for each country in our data set. So the first thing we'll just do, I'll just run through this and quickly explain it. I won't go deep into this explanation so that we can quickly move to Power BI, show you how to load data, and we can call it a day. So tomorrow we are going only into Power BI. So we'll say country. We are not joining data in this one because we're not joining tables in this one because we're looking at total death counts, and the death information is only in the COVID death table. It's only in the COVID death table. So what we want to do is looking at the country, then want to look at the sum of new deaths. Why I'm using new deaths because I want you to have a different method of looking at total people that died in the country. Sum of new deaths as total death count. Then we are getting the information from COVID deaths. Then where continent is not null. Okay, so I also want us to look at the death rates. I want us to look at death rates. So it will be okay, let's just go ahead. So where continent is not null, we want to eliminate the errors there. Then group by continent and location. Sorry, countries. Group by location and country. Then order by. So we want it to start from the highest to the lowest. Total death count. And I explained why we can use the total death count because we've used the where clause, so it has been activated. Then DESC. So we want to take continent. So that is wonderful. So we want to name this query number 5. So we want to run this. Okay. Right, so we want to run this. Okay, so now we have our total death counts for each country. Okay, we have our total death counts for each country. And these total death counts, they are being grouped by, these countries are being grouped by their continent, so that when we're using Power BI, we can choose if we want to see for only North America. We can choose if we want to see for Asia or wherever. So it gives us their total death counts for every country. So I'm going to explain this. This select means we are telling you to select continents, the column called continents, column called country, and the column called new deaths. But not only that, we wanted to sum the new deaths. That's the total new deaths every country has. and rename that column as total death counts. Okay, we are getting the information from the COVID deaths table where the continent is not known, which means we don't want a result whereby this continent place will be showing null. That's not what we want. Then we want it to group by continent and country, and we want it to order by total death counts, which means that it should be starting from the highest to the lowest. So if we're looking at US is having total death counts of over 1 million people. Brazil is having total death counts of 690,000 people. Okay. India is having total death counts of 523,000 people, which means from 2020 to 2022, these are the amount of people that have died in each country because of COVID-19. All right, because of COVID-19. So what I would want us to do now is export this data to Power BI, to a CSV file. All right, I want us to export this data to a CSV file. So we're going to start from the last one, this number 5, because it's the one we're currently viewing. So what I want us to do is, since it's already showing us the table here for the last query we just did, let me post that in the group. I think you guys can see, but I'll put it that way. Okay, so okay. So to export this table, this is what we're going to do. Since we already have the table showing as an output here, we'll just come to this section here. Export to CSV. Okay. So when you click on export to CSV, remember the option I told you, this quote character. The last query we just did. So you click on export, this export sign here, this sign here. Export to CSV. Then this quote character has to be blank. Then your field separator should remain the same. Then column in first line, that box has to be checked. Okay, then you click on save. So that should take you to where you will name your, so you want to say total death counts for total death counts by continent and countries. So that's what you should name it. Total death counts by continent and countries. Then you click on save. So you have to know where you're saving your file. Yours can be in pictures or wherever. For me, I'm saving my own where I just have it separately. No other file is disturbing me. So you can just click on save. And it should tell you export completed. So you just click on OK. Then you go ahead and do for the next query, query number 4, which is where we use the join function to export our table. So you highlight it, the entire query, the number 4 query, you highlight it, then you run it. So to give you the results. So you press play here. You just wait a little while your result comes out. Okay, so while we are waiting for that, I will just do only these two. I will do for these two, and I'll leave you to go ahead to do the remaining ones yourself. Okay, so that you can get used to exporting queries or exporting your results to a CSV file. Then I'll move directly to Power BI, import one of these tables, show you how to just make a very simple visual. Then we can call it a day. I'll take questions and get ready for your calls that will be coming in by 1 p.m. Okay. We're still waiting for this to load. Okay. And while you are doing this, always remember that you should click on File and then Save All, so that you don't lose your queries in case you don't want to export your files to CSV now. So you don't lose your queries. Click on File, then Save All. Yeah, you can save it as let's say let's see what information are we trying to get. We are trying to get total vaccination, total people vaccination for countries and continents. Total people vaccinated for countries and continents. So you can save it as that. I think that should work just fine. So total people vaccinated for countries and continents. All right, so after you've done that, the next one, you should do the same thing for the next one. The table number 3, you can name that, let's see. Rates of population infected. So I'll just be typing them here because I'm not going to be saving them. I'll just be giving you how to name your table. Number 3 should be rate of population infected. Let's see what for continents and countries. I'm typing that in now. Then number 2 should be let's see what's total infection count. Okay, so we're going on the group, the Google Meet chat. Check it there. All right. So continent, then where country like Nigeria. Let's see continent. Let's see countries. See what this gives us. National rate of infected population. Okay, so yes, you have to run it first before you save it. So let's see. Okay, so this table number 2, I'm going to paste this new query I just wrote for table number 2 so that you can make changes to your own, because this is what we'll be using. Okay, so table number 2, you can name that rates of population infected. So then okay, they are the same thing, right? Oh, that's true. Okay, wonderful. So they are the same thing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, I think the difference is where continent is not null. Okay, very good. So ignore the query number 2, go with the query number 3. That's more updated. So let's look at query number 1. Wonderful. So query number 1, well, query number 2 is Nigeria. Query number 3 is for everyone. Okay, you know what? I will be posting this query on the group chat. I just need to be done with this, yeah, so we don't spend time on this. Then select continent, that's query number 1. So you want to name query number 1 as overall. Let's give this overall total and overall. Please, if you're not following, I think you should just stay cool and rewatch the video. That's why we're recording this. Okay, so you don't have to stress overall total for continents and death rates for continents. Okay, so this is what you should name your table number 1. So that I want everybody to have the same name for their tables. So we won't be having my table is not the same, it's not named the same way. Okay, so let's see. Right, so I saved one, right? So I'm going to be opening Power BI. Let's see, I'm going to open Power BI so that we can do our visualization on Power BI. So while my Power BI is opening, please, I'm open to take questions. I'm open to take questions. Go ahead. Okay. I'm going to, is it the data I worked on? Okay. 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 The truth is that the Power BI, I won't be going deep into it. So what I would do is send me a chat on WhatsApp. Send me a chat. Yeah, send me a chat on WhatsApp. Then I will send you the link to download the data, the full data. And I'll also send you the link to the previous videos so you can just catch up with the videos and follow through. All right. All right then. Yeah, received. I will do that on the group chats. Okay. Yeah, because now we are rounding up and I don't want to go back. So let me see. I think my Power BI is opened. It's opened. It's opened. It's opened. Okay, it's still opening. So depending on your machine, I'm not using my desktop now. I think my desktop is way faster than this, but I'm not home now. So that's why I'm using my laptop. So can we all see my screen? The Power BI loading? Yeah, go ahead. Use query 3 instead of query 2. They are both the same thing, but query 2 was just for Nigeria alone. So yeah, so use query 3 instead of query 2. Right, so here is Power BI, everybody. So I'm going to be doing something really odd, and I don't think most of you have been able to see how it's done using a map on Power BI. So whenever I'm doing anything that has to do with countries or continents, I prefer using a map because most of the time I have to publish that work to the internet. So I want it to be that when someone is looking at my work, the person will be able to, okay, I know how to I know how Nigeria map looks like. This is Nigeria. I know how this looks like. This is this and all that. So it will be easy for the person to follow through. So, okay. Right. My Power BI has to open. It takes time on this system. So all right. Let's see. So, and also I'll be showing you guys how to publish your work with Power BI. Just as sometimes it will tell you to open, it should tell you to open a work account or school account, show you how to bypass that. That's one of the things that helps to publish your work in Power BI. So we're going to be getting our data. So to get your data, you have to click on Get Data, okay, and click on Text CSV because our file is not in an Excel workbook, it's in a CSV file. Remember, you're exporting to a CSV file, okay? So I'm picking mine I saved mine in pictures. So this is total debt count by continents and countries. I'll open this. Then it will be connecting and trying to load. So a dialog box is going to open. Can we all see my screen? Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. So, all right. So I'll advise you stop whatever you're doing and watch what I'm showing you. And watch what I'm showing you. Okay, so that you can follow through. This is going to be recorded, so you don't need to do this. We're going to do this tomorrow again. So this is what is going to be showing you for total debt counts by continents and countries, okay? Then you have option to transform data or load data. Now we don't need to transform our data now. All we just need to do is load our data. Transform data takes you to Power Query Editor. We don't need that now. So we just need to load our data, then transform later on. Okay, so when that is done, the data should be loading, and sometimes it will tell you you have some errors. Just ignore the errors. You are going to use those errors is going to be showing you have. It's automatically fixed by Power BI. So you don't need to go through that stress. So we're waiting for our data to load. So I just take, I think just a few minutes to do so, not long. So if we're loading another table, sometimes Power BI automatically does this relationship, this modeling for you. Sometimes it automatically does this modeling for you. Okay, if the data set have the same number of columns, the same number of rows, it automatically does it for you. But if this information are not, maybe the number of rows are not the same thing, it will avoid doing that for you so as it won't give you errors or anything. So it won't make mistakes. So if the number of rows are not equal to each other, you have to do it yourself. Okay. Yeah, if we want to work with Power BI to do some extra calculations, we use DAX formulas. If we want to do groupings, maybe using switch or using if statements, we can use DAX formulas. So we'll play around that tomorrow because that's very important, knowing how to use DAX formulas, right? So still loading. Yes, if you can load other tables, fine. But I'm just going to be showing for this one, this model. Okay, wonderful. Mine is done. So 235 rows loaded. So as we can see here, is updating my fields pane. Okay, just a moment. Mine is loading. All right, so that is that. Let's now see. So we want to, the first thing I want to do before going into my visuals, I want to look at my table. I want to see how it is arranged because we have continents, we have country, we have total debt counts. I need to arrange this so that when I'm making my visual follows a particular method. So I'll click on this continent. So the first thing I want to do is I want to change this data category to continents, which is this. So that when I plot my map recognizes it as a continent. Then that should load quickly. So the next thing I want to do is do the same for country. I want to change that to country. Let's see. Okay, change that to country so that when I plot my map, it recognizes it as a country, right? Then I want to, for this total debt count, I want to use a comma separator at each 1,000. So which means that instead of just showing the figures like this, I wanted to put a comma. So 10 million, we know that it's 10 million. 1,000, we know that is 1,000. So this is where I'm going to use this comma sign here. I'll click on it once. Okay, so that should do it. Let's see. Wonderful. So now we have everything arranged. So all we just have to do is, we can't create a relationship because it's just one table we're using. So there's no need to make a relationship on it or anything. So we'll go to our reports. The first thing I want to do is I want to use a map. So I'm going to choose, let's see. I'm going to use a map. Let's see what it does for us. So I'm going to enlarge this. Okay. Then what I want to do is, I want to look at the options I have on these fields. Now, it's already telling me location, legend, latitude, and longitude. Assuming we had figures for latitude and longitude, we are going to be using it, okay? But there's no need for latitude and longitude because we already have the countries in place, okay? So I'm going to drag this country to location. Then I'm going to drag this country again to legends. So you see that it's already loading. It's trying to generate a map for my visual. It's going to put every country in their specific location on the map. You see Nigeria on the map. You see Spain, where Spain should be located. You will see Brazil, where Brazil should be located. As you can see, the map is loading. You see different indicators for all the countries on the map. All right, so if you can see the map, you see that the map are just loaded. So let's see. Now, this stuff is looking very disorganized, okay? There are so many countries. What I want to do now is use a slicer to make sure that I'm viewing the countries by their continent. So I only want to view the countries in Africa. I only want to view the countries in Africa. So I'm going to drag this and drag continent and put it on the slicer. Then if I drag this a little bit, you're going to see every other continent here. So if I select only Africa now, you'll see that this map is going to rearrange and show me only the countries in Africa. So let's see. Okay, so now we can see that it's showing us only the countries in Africa. Yeah, there will be a lot because there are I think over 50 countries in Africa. So if we want to find out the number of countries we have in Africa, we are going to use a card, what we call a card. All right. So we'll just reduce the size of this card. Then we want to see the number of countries we have in Africa. We'll just drag the country field to the fields table here, or you can drag it directly to this card here. It's still the same thing. So, okay, so what it does is it's going to show you first country. That's not what you need. Okay, next thing you're going to do is click on this option under fields, this drop down arrow here. You click on it once, then you click on count distance. If you click on count, it will count Algeria as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It will be counting multiple countries multiple times. You don't need that. So what you want to select is count distance. So when it sees Algeria and it sees Algeria again, it doesn't count it as 1, 2. It counts it as 1. Okay, so that's why we choose count distance. So when you click on count distance, that should change and show you 54 countries or 53 countries. Depend. Okay, 56. That means that we have 56 countries in Africa that recorded their COVID-19 information with the COVID-19 database. All right, so we don't need to do counts for continents because we can count the continents here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so if we want to look at the total death counts, if we want to look at the total death counts for, want to plot that using maybe a bar chart. Let's see. We want to plot that using a bar chart. Okay. Then these are, yeah, stacked. Let me see. Stacked column chart here, of course. Then we want to use continents. We want to drag continents to the x-axis. Now, why I'm using x-axis is because you only use x-axis for categorical values. Anything x-axis should be for categorical values. Okay, maybe countries, maybe age group, maybe continents, maybe names of people. You use x-axis. Okay, so I'm going to drop continents there. Then total death counts, we are going to drag that to the y-axis. We're going to drag that to the y-axis. So let's see. Okay, I'm going to unselect Africa. So everything should rearrange. So we're going to see different total death counts for the different continents we have. So mine should have rearranged if you can see the screen. So we can see that Europe has the highest total death count, followed by North America, followed by Asia, followed by South America, then Africa, which is at 257,000, then followed by Oceania, which is at 20,000. So that means we have just 20,000 people dying in countries like Australia and all that. Okay, then in countries like France, we have 1.9 million people, over 1.9 million people dying. In countries like USA, we have over 1.5 million people dying. Countries like Korea, we have over 1.4 million people dying. Countries like Brazil, we have 1.3 million people dying. Then countries like Nigeria, just 257,000 people have died from COVID-19. So this is how to make just a very simple visual. This visual alone I've done communicates a lot of insights. You can use it to write one page white paper when you're summarizing or communicating insights to the control and disease center of the world. So that's, yes, there's a way we can put label, but okay, I'll just do that for one. I'll do that for one. This particular graph. Yeah, you can put a label on top. We can even go ahead to change the colors. So my controls might be different for those using Windows 11 or Windows 10. So mine for this laptop, I'm using Windows 8. because I don't really use this laptop for a lot of work. I use it for coding. So this is where you should come to format your visual. Then you should open a new pane here. So you click on X axis, then you just drag down. So I'm going to show you just a little bit. I'll remove the title for the X axis. So it's not showing continents. It's just showing the continent's name, because everybody, we know that Europe is a continent, North America is a continent and all that. So the next thing I want to do is for the, okay, let me see what I can do. Then columns. So I want to change the coloring for these columns. I want it to be in a gradient form, which means that the one with the highest count should be very thick. The color should be very thick. The one with the second highest the thickness of the coloring should reduce a little. So that's what I'm looking to do now. So it's going to open a dialog box for me. Then I want to change the color from dark blue to light blue. Okay, this is what I want to do. So I want it to be in a gradient form. That's already selected gradient for me. Then that's all I need to do. Then I'll click on OK. I'll click on OK. That should automatically arrange itself. Yeah, that should automatically fix that for me. Okay, so now, okay, this is just looking a little bit somehow. And I know where the problem is coming from, but if I should go back to fix it, I'm going to spend a lot of time here. But for your own PC, this should work just as fine. If it doesn't work, we'll fix it tomorrow. So for general, what I want to do is I want to change the title. I want to change the title to total deaths by continent. Then I'll click enter. Then I want this to be in the middle, and I want it to be in bold. So this, okay, this is that. So this is what we can change the color of this text on top to any color we want, but let's leave it as black. So this is how to format a visual in Power BI. Okay, you could change it to any color, but one thing you should know is that any color you're using in your Power BI should remain consistent. You don't want to use blue and yellow and red and green in one graph. Even the man that can see very well might go blind because of the colors you're using. So that coloring, mixed coloring or anything, using so many colors can make a man that see go blind. Right, so it's not good. It's not a good data analysis practice. So if we're using this type of color in our graph, we're going to be using blue gradients all through this Power BI work. If we're using black, we're going to be using black all through this Power BI work. If we're using rainbow coloring in one graph has to be rainbow coloring all through. If we're using blue or yellow, it has to remain consistent in everything we're doing. Okay, so this is where we're going to stop. So if you're following, you can just click on this place to save your work. I'm going to click on save. That disk that is up there, this stuff here, click on it. Then it's going to bring out this option. You just click on COVID reports for all continents and countries. Then you click on save. So that should save your report for you. And that is where we are going to stop for today. We are already close to 1 o'clock. I don't want to be here when people are calling me. Okay, so that is where you could save it as anything you want to. Yeah, this one doesn't have to be the same with everybody. Save it with what you feel you want to save it as. So this is what we are going to be working on tomorrow. We're going to be making more visuals tomorrow. And if you have any question, I will just take one question and that's all, so I can prepare for the calls. If you have any question, you can call me on my WhatsApp line. Then I will take your questions there. So I'll take just one question, then we'll call it a day. Just one question, we'll call it a day. If you have a question, raise your hand and I'll take the first person. Okay, Sunday, go ahead. Okay. 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 Count of continents. Where is that place? Here? Okay. Okay, it just means the color gradient. The color gradient, that's what it means. Yeah, color gradient, that's what it means. You can ignore that. I can choose to remove that as legend. Let me see. I think that should go. So, okay, good. If I remove the legend, that automatically goes away. We don't need that per se. But that just to make the visual look more appealing. Yeah, sometimes it can be confusing. So, okay. So I'm going to call it a day with this. And if you have any question, please, from 1 o'clock, I'll be taking calls. If you call me before 1, I might not pick your call because I want to eat. Let me just use 10 minutes to eat. Okay. All right, then. So if you have any question, please, from 1 o'clock, let your calls keep coming in. And if you notice that you're calling me and maybe it's saying busy, which means that I'm on a call with someone. So you just have to wait a little bit and call me again. Okay. So maybe check the time, 5 minutes from 1 o'clock, every 5 minutes, just keep trying my number. I will pick. Once it rings, I will pick for sure. Okay. So, and for our people in US, I think I dropped an account number for those looking to get into the mentorship session. I dropped an Access Bank account number for payments in dollars, pounds, or Canadian dollars. It depends on where you're paying from. Okay. And for those looking to get into the mentorship and you are finding it hard to pay using the Paystack account, I'm going to be putting the sub account on the group. So you can make payments with that. The only difference is that when you pay, you have to notify me so I can send you the form you are going to fill, because those paying with Paystack, they are automatically redirected to the form. But those paying with accounts, directly to the bank account, you have to send me a message so I can send you the form to fill. Okay, and regardless, the payment for the mentorship ends on Friday, because on Friday we need to send mail to everybody that has paid, send them access to the WhatsApp group, Discord group, and Telegram group, and also materials that we'll be using. So by Friday, payment for the mentorship has to end. So if you want to do it, you can go ahead and do it now, and you'll get a response from us. Okay, I have 15 minutes. Wow. All right then, everybody. Thank you so much for your time today. I actually learned a lot today. I learned something else today, and I'll be sharing it on the group what I learned today. So from 1 o'clock, you can get the calls coming in. And okay, Oji, you have a question. Go ahead. Tomorrow we are going fully into Power BI, just Power BI alone. Is it on Power BI? Sure. That's the reason for tomorrow. Tomorrow, just Power BI. We should be done with that. All right. So, okay, and yeah, go ahead. Okay, I'll respond to you. My phone is far from me. I got a lot of messages, so I had to throw it away. All right. So, okay, Audrey, you have a question again? Yes, I'll put all the queries on the chats, group chats. Okay, Bolaji, go ahead. Yes, of course. Everything from start to finish, we'll do the Power BI. Every single thing. Okay, okay. And yeah, I have an information for it's just a sneak peek. Just a sneak peek. There is an access to a school in where is that school again? I think in South Africa, I'm not sure. For those looking to learn data science, I don't know if the school is still open, but I'm going to drop more information on the group. Okay, I'm going to drop more information, but I have to do my research first. If it's not opened, then I'll tell you it's not opened anymore. Okay, if it's not opened, don't expect anything from me. But if it's opened, I'll drop information on how to apply for the school on the WhatsApp group. Okay. All right, then, everybody. Thank you so much for your time. And I'm clapping for everyone here because you've actually learned something wonderful today. You've learned something wonderful today. But please go to W3 schools to learn SQL, the basic concepts. So when you're looking at those queries, you are going to have your aha moment. Okay. You'll be like, oh, this is what I was even learning. It will be easy for you. Yeah, yes, I will do that. I will do that on the WhatsApp group. Okay. All right. So 1 o'clock, I'll be expecting your calls, and thank you so much for the time, everyone. Thank you. Do have a nice day. Okay. Okay.
It's not working.
Hmm?
I don't know why it's not working. Let's go.
Let's.
You say you want to go out. You didn't want to go out.
No,
Mm.
no, the name is talking.
That's what would have been better.
You want to eat? Are you hungry? You are hungry. You like food.
I ate this morning, but we can't. I don't inspire. So what do you do now? Why is it not working? The laptop cannot do it.
Yes, can do it. Let's see.
Yes.